Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of TXR, your favorite place to talk games Sunday night, unless, of course, you're tuning into the last episode of Game of Thrones. I can't wait to tackle tonight's topics, and there's a nice variety here with some very intriguing partnership announcements and some late-breaking rumors going on. Of course, I'm your host, Invader, the voice of gaming reason, and let's get to the intros for tonight. All right, fellas, we got here Tim Dog. How are you doing this past week, my friend?
Doing great. What a week. Big news. And we're going to share it all today. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about some of this new late breaking stuff that we were just talking pre show. Happy to be here. Sunday night, relaxing. And we're going to talk some Xbox. So I'm happy to be here with a great panel and yourself, a great host.
Uh, Too kind, my friend. Too kind. Megatron, how have you been, my Decepticon buddy?
I've been good. I've been good, man. Ready to talk some news, man. A lot of stuff that came out this week, surprising stuff. So, plenty to talk about. Let's do it.
All right, all right, all right. And Southbound, how's life been treating you, bud?
Man, life's been good. I've been gaming my ass off lately. I've been playing so much games, like I haven't done much else. So everything is beautiful.
Everything is beautiful. You hear that, folks? Well, also, before we begin, I would like to wish my fellow Canucks a happy Victoria Day long weekend. In case you hear fireworks going off and my dog going nuts in the background, that's the reason why. So, hey, it's Victoria Day here in Canada. And remember, everyone, please act responsibly, be responsible, and keep safe. Let's see here. How's everybody doing in the chat? Who do we got here? We got Michael Monkey Punch. Hey there, Monkey. How you doing, bud? Siberia, thank you for joining us. Oh, the chat's already lit. Shizno Elite. Hey, buddy. Thanks for joining in.
Now!
Exactly. Yeah, we got some good guys here already. People are starting to pile in. All right, guys, let's move into the first topic of the evening. And we've had a lot of notable games released over the past week or so. Games like Rage 2, which, well, people either seem to really love or really hate, depending. We got a really narrative-focused game, A Plague Tale: Innocence, Sniper Elite 2 Remastered, and a few others. Panel, have any of you been playing these new games or picking them up soon? Tim, I know you've been playing Rage 2 a lot recently since it came out. Why don't you give us your thoughts on it so far? How are you enjoying it?
I played it one night, played it for about 6 hours. I was in a chat with Dealer and a couple of other Xbox guys, and we were, talking about it. But I have to say, that was the night before the big announcement, the big partnership. So I woke up to all that stuff in the morning. But I have to say, I really enjoy Rage. I don't think that it's not the sharpest looking game, but the 60 frames per second really is nice to feel. You can really feel it. The game, while it's basically you could from the start of the beginning you could either just free roam or you could go within the missions. I personally love free roaming and just driving around and taking out different areas and different places to loot and stuff like that. I had a lot of fun with it. It's a mindless game. If you like shooting and blowing up and that type of stuff, that you don't have to use your mind that much. You don't get lost in the game. It's pure fun. I do see some of the criticisms, but in my opinion, the fun outweighs most of everything that you can complain about. Uh, do I think that the game could look better? The answer is yes, but you can't have everything all the time. I think for what they did in the 60 frames per second was the right move. The game is I recommend it. Like I said, I played 5 hours. I accrued 120 gamer score. I was into it. It was the one night that I could play. I played till like 5 in the morning, and I recommend. So far, I would say that if you like mindless games that you can just shoot and you don't really have to think too much, this game's for you. And if you like games that are a little more refined and you have to go about things in a methodical way, this might not be for you. So, but I recommend it. I had a lot of fun with it.
All right, all right. Yeah, I've been kind of tempted by it because I've seen a lot of people that we know in the community over Twitter praising it. People are having fun. I've also seen the flip side of that, and I'm still in between on it, but it does look pretty good. The gunplay looks fun. The world seems, well, pretty interesting for an apocalypse. And I played the first game, and I thought it was okay. I mean, for its time, it was beautiful, but it kind of ended on a whimper. It was kind of disappointing that way. Southbound, or what have
You
you
know
been
what?
playing?
I've been playing a lot of Division 2, but the other night, I don't know if you noticed that I tweeted out that I finally got to level 30, and I was all happy about it. Well, after that, after a long night of grinding, I said, I'm gonna pop in this Rage 2 and just kind of see what's up with it. And so I popped the game in, did the little you choose your character and all that, and then you can get your first gun or whatever. And literally, I don't know, I probably took about 20 steps and I fell asleep. so, so I mean, the game, I was like, hell, oh man, this is pretty cool. This is nice. Yeah, all right. Like Tim said, the visuals, I mean, they're not perfect, but they are pretty, but they're not perfect by no stretch of the imagination. But it looks good. I guess I was just way too wore out from Division, and my mind was just mush. So I passed out on the sticks. So
I was just going to say it couldn't have been that bad, right? Like it was just
no. Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't a game. It was just my ass was tired, and I was done.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Rage 2 looks good, and also for me, A Plague Tale: Innocence looks good too. My catalog is humongous. It's like, what am I, like, just under 700 games, and I'm just really trying to just like show some restraint, and at the very least catch these games on the sale, even though they're worthy probably of day one purchases. Without the multiplayer, some people feel like if there's no multiplayer, then they'll wait. But for me, that really doesn't matter. But I do want both the games. I'm going to kind of hold out. Sniper Elite, not so much. I'll probably.
I mean, going back, I have all the games. I just don't know if I'm gonna have time to go back and play. Like Megatron said, they're just
It's tough, man.
Backlog. First world problems.
Oh yeah, now I'll totally admit, like, I probably won't be picking any of these up. Maybe there'll be summer games for me. It's just, I'm trying to whittle away at the backlog. Plus, I want to save my time for some games popping up in Game Pass, like Void Bastards. Looks like it has a release date now, I think next week. So I really want to try that out, give it a shot. Like the
Void Bastards was announced a Game Pass game?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, has a release date at the end of May, and it's going to Game Pass day one, so that's pretty cool. I can't wait to try that out. Dang, Game Pass is really worth it. But you know what, guys? There's some interesting games there. Plague Tale, heard different things about. A couple of polarizing games there. But I want to move on to some late breaking news that we were just talking about right before the show started, guys, in the chat room. There's a new leak out, a bit of an information dump, if you will, about supposedly a poster on NeGAF has posted a whole bunch of information about Microsoft's conference and what games we'll be seeing there. I'm just going through the list now.
Grain of salt.
I didn't see this.
It
just came out.
It's
just now.
Breaking news.
Yeah, pretty much breaking. And again, guys, like I've said on previous shows before, take this with a grain of salt. Like South was suggesting there, like, we don't know. But when we see these games here, there's a lot of highly probable games. I'll just list everything off really quickly. Supposedly, he starts by saying Halo Infinite will be shown, new trailer, holiday 2020 release, cross-gen, Gears 5, full gameplay demo reveal, September release date, which it was leaked to be that, so we'll see if that comes true. Gears Tactics info dump, new trailer and release date for PC later this year. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, final trailer with a release date later this year. Bleeding Edge, Ninja Theory's next game. Apparently, he has conflicting reports on this and what exactly it will be, but it'll be a sci-fi universe, and it will be for 2020 as well. We'll have Outer Worlds gameplay and release date. Cyberpunk will be there with new gameplay and an actual release date, apparently. This one I'm very interested to see if it comes true. Age of Empires, info dump and reveal. Fable, apparently, well, he goes into detail here about a few things, but we might get a trailer from the sounds of it, a teaser trailer. Apparently, it's still not ready to be fully shown up, but we'll get a teaser just to let us know it's in the works. Sea of Thieves, apparently there'll be some updates on that as well. Battletoads will get a release day in gameplay. Project X Clouds, there'll be a huge info dump, something about public tests and rollouts, and how it will be a big focus of Microsoft's going into the near future. And of course, what everybody's been talking about, Xbox Lockhart, a Scorpio-style reveal, and Anaconda as well, and talking about the next-gen systems. Also, there's talk here about them going into third-party big time. What else? As far as exclusives go, they'll have a mech game, which has been talked about by industry insider Clobriel before. There's a high chance that it could be a Mech Assault game or a Mech Warrior. We'll see there. Supposedly, this would be interesting. The next Forza Motorsport will be revealed. And yeah, I'll be skipping on to next-gen consoles. Capcom will have a big showing there. They'll reveal their next title. A few Japanese games. Rare are going to apparently showcase. We're going to hear about their next-gen IP, which will be a new IP. It won't be like a reboot of anything they've done before, so we'll see something new from them. And supposedly, there will be a Perfect Dark reboot. Now, we've heard this before. It'll be done by an outside studio. Rare doesn't want to do work on their old IPs anymore, so that'll be showing off. And, you know, I could go on and on here, guys, but apparently there'll be more studios announced. He's not 100% certain here. He talks about IO Interactive, Relic Entertainment, Asobo,
Bungie.
There you go. There you go.
That would be nice. I would wish for Bungie, but he even talks about Platinum Games, Blue Point, 4A Games. They did Metro, and I think that's about it. But sorry, guys. I know there's a lot of info here. I'm just trying to read through it quick.
You should link to the.
That sounds like a great list, though. I mean,
put a link.
Well, it's on NeoGAF, so if you go to NeoGAF, it's right there.
A Mech Assault, Fable, a reboot of Perfect Dark.
Here, I'll put it in our little DM here if you guys want to look at that. I'll post that. But judging from what I've said, guys, how do you feel about this? Chat, let me know what your thoughts are on this list. Tim, obviously, you've been following this a little more so than the rest of us. How do you feel about this list? Is this plausible? Because we've kind of heard this over the past couple of months as well. Do you think it's legit?
I don't know. To be honest, it's very hard to say with these type of things. It's like, let's be honest. If me and you and this whole panel said, let's make up rumors, this is basically what the rumored list might
90% of the list it would look like. You know, and come on, this stuff happens like what, every couple weeks before E3? Oh, here's a huge dump of what's gonna happen. This is E3 spoiled, you know what I mean? And it comes to find out only maybe a half of one rumor comes out true. So
all of it pulls me in, man. I want it all to be true. A new Mech Assault.
If that was all true, if that's all true, we'll be very, very happy. what I don't think is true is that they're going to have that much. I do think, like we were talking pre-show, they are going to have another event, EXO 2019. So I do think that if they had all of that, they would push off some of that to 2019. Now, while this is a rumor, and while we did say what we just said, 3 years ago, NeoGAF was basically the culprit of. There was a report. There was the same type of info dump that was on their forum, and it was the same thing. I think it was Neternal was the username, and that user basically did have all the info, and he did spoil the E3. So you have to also consider that this is not like.
Wasn't that like 3 years ago when they spoiled all the Halo Master Chief collection and all that?
Scalebound.
Tim's botting a little bit.
Oh, Tim, you're botting.
Yeah, that was all. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Botting?
You sound good now.
Right, okay. So the point being is that you have to take it with a grain of salt, but there also could be some real stuff here. What I've heard behind the scenes, there is definitely a new rare IP. You can take that to the bank. That's gonna happen. Will they show it? I don't know. Perfect Dark remake, again, heard through the grapevine. They want to do the worst way for the longest time. It makes sense that they would do something like that. I've heard that for a long time. I think that even people were thinking the initiative was going to be doing that. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. Looks like they're working on a new IP. But, yeah, it's fun stuff. But just don't get too crazy. But if all that stuff was true, wow, that would be like, I think everyone here would be like, the heads would be cut off.
You know what? On face value, I'm just gonna say that's a lot. Yeah. I think that's too much to be in one show.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
He talks about 6 studios. He talks, if you read the whole thing, he's like 3 studios, and then he goes into 3 other potentials. So I think that the guy, whoever did this, is very knowledgeable. And he's taken pretty much all the solid rumors and put it in if he is bullshitting. Or the guy might really know something. And Microsoft's notorious for letting leaks go through. So it's possible we could have a real leak here.
Well, last year nothing leaked, right?
Nothing leaked last year.
Yeah. Because I remember everyone was just kind of big, huge sigh of relief that nothing leaked. They were like, really? Right. It's day of E3, press briefing, and nothing's leaked? Oh, my God.
I'll be honest, though. This looks like a pretty safe, kind of a list. I mean, he goes into detail, sort of, but he's kind of vague with some things. I don't know. It's like basically we've been saying, I mean, this is a good list, but it's a lot. I know that I think their conference is going to be a little longer this year, if I'm not mistaken, but
I think they said an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's
2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours. I heard.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, they're going to have to fill it up with some stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if Capcom showed off their next title. Obviously, Devil May Cry had a big showing last year. I think Microsoft got some positive energy from that. Phil was in Japan and Korea the past week or two. So, they're going to get, there's obviously going to be some more Japanese push.
It's going to be a new Street Fighter. Come on.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if Persona finally showed up. It's on everything else but Xbox. That would be huge. And I mean, one of my bets would probably be seeing a Fable teaser of some sorts. I mean, just to get the fan base energized of something coming. But
yeah, that was another thing. He said they were going to show a teaser for Fable. I don't know if you covered it. They did say that. And for me, listen, they got to show that.
Well,
that's
you know
one
what?
thing I do think that they have to show is that
when it comes to Fable, it's been rumored for a long time, and I'm one of the people, when there's smoke, there's fire. So there's definitely something brewing somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what that something is, though. How long has it been since Fable 3? How many years does anyone know?
Well, it goes 360.
2009 Fable 3 was
so it's been 10 years. You got probably an entire generation that probably didn't even play the game at all. So I'm wondering if maybe possibly a remaster. You think?
No,
You think it'd be
it's
worth it?
No, it's gonna be Fable 4.
Okay, I'd be
It's gonna be Fable
I'd be
4
satisfied with that.
100%.
Well, the way this guy words it, I don't know. Like, I mean, it almost sounds like he's thinking it's going to be like a complete reboot of the series, but we'll see. I mean, that's what I would imagine, but we'll
If
see.
it's a reboot, that's fine. That's kind of like a sequel. Just, I don't think they're gonna remake a 3 or the original. Especially being them a new studio. It looks like Playground. Listen, Eurogamer already came out and said this is happening. This is definitely our sources have it. Long before there have been other people that have claimed this. At this point, I think that they need to introduce Fable, just because if they have it, just because that's going to give them a big game that a lot of fans have wanted for a long time. I mean, when Fable Legends was canceled, even though it wasn't in a great state, the game pissed a lot of people off, if you remember. A lot of people were upset. And there was a lot of fans of Fable. A lot of people want that RPG. So it
was that and Scalebound within a couple months, so it was too fresh.
Yeah, well, not only they closed Lionhead, canceled Fable Legends, they shut down Press Play. There is a few things, not to mention letting go of Twisted Pixel, and then Scalebound, Phantom Dust. The list goes on. They were really, toning down things, cutting costs. It was, seeing them scale back like that. That was pretty sad when you were expecting things from them. This list, I mean, it looks pretty good. I would love a new Mechasalt or a mech game, period. I think they really need to address that, bring back some of those old IPs that people cherish from the OG Xbox days. I don't know.
Michael Monkey Punch wants to. But he's talking about Killer Instinct news at E3. I wouldn't mind maybe a Capcom Killer Instinct mash, something of the sort. Possibly, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Killer Instinct did really well for them. They had a few seasons of it, and they gambled on it. Did really well right off the bat, and they had a solid hit there. And I could see them investing in it more. Making it into a proper package. I would love it to have like Mortal Kombat, kind of visuals and like that kind of a backing. I really want a proper story to it, and I don't know. I'd be excited for another Killer Instinct game. But hey, Mick Gordon has to come back on the soundtrack, guys. I miss him on the soundtrack. That guy rocked. But I don't know, like Megatron, do you think that that this list here, like from what we've been talking about, doesn't sound at least, possible, reasonable?
Some of the stuff, again, like you said, Fable. I wish I had the list in front of me to go back over what you said, but Fable, Mechasalt would be huge. I played a lot of that. Oh, is it? I played a lot of that in on the first OG Xbox, tons of it, and I would love to see even I would settle for a remaster with some maybe some cloud destruction, possibly.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, well, if I remember correctly, even I remember Mechasalt 2 Lone Wolf, it had some pretty decent destruction back in the day too, knocking down buildings and stuff. If they had, I can just imagine with today's technology, like, Battlefield does some impressive stuff. I mean, obviously, you saw some stuff with Crackdown and other games, but I would kill for that. Having mechs roll around giant cities and blowing up stuff or forests, whatnot. Oh, I would totally be into that. But yeah, guys, it seems like an interesting list. Take everything with a giant grain of salt, especially when you're dealing with these websites. But you never know. But it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. But anyways, I think we're going to move on to our next topic. And it's pretty big news that broke out a day ago. Microsoft and Sony announced a partnership that focuses on innovations to enhance customer experiences in their direct-to-customer entertainment platforms. So both will explore joint development for future cloud technology relating to
One thing I just
Yep. You there, Tim?
I think he was gonna say that Nintendo's actually jumping on board as
Yeah.
well. That came out today.
I was gonna go into that.
yeah.
But
Way
yeah,
to kill
Yeah,
it.
no, yeah, go on. I flip.
yeah,
Am I botting?
you blipped, my man. But yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, we got some botting, but yeah, Microsoft Sony's gonna use the Azure servers for streaming and gaming, and AI making their way to all of Sony's platforms for gaming. So, panel, this is pretty big news here. And of course, to add to this, there's a rumor going around today, as Tim and the guys were saying, about Nintendo also in talks with Microsoft to bring Azure to the Switch for game streaming, which, it's very interesting because we're, not too long ago, guys, if you recall, we were talking about Microsoft and Nintendo working on something with Xbox Live support. Now, what are your thoughts on this, panel? What's your take on this? I mean, we know Sony's online isn't the greatest. Nintendo's, I mean, I don't even want to mention it because it's barely existent. But, will this both help them in the long run? Tim, what's your take?
I just jumped in. What was the question about the Nintendo?
Well, I mean, do you think that this will help both Sony and Nintendo in the long run by having the Azure, the Azure servers for streaming and gaming and everything?
Yes, and I'm happy to see that this happened. This is really, I think, for gamers just in general, it's just going to propel the gaming that we game. Games like COD, I could see being on Azure, so we will get dedicated servers. The experience is going to be streamlined. Looks like Nintendo's definitely on board. I've heard that from other sources than what we've heard today. So I think that's a real thing. And I have to say, kudos to Sony. They realize that they do not have the infrastructure, and I've been telling people that for the longest time, and I've always been met with a lot of resistance, saying I'm a fanboy. But when I'm speaking to people that are in the industry and they're telling me this behind the scenes, and they have no solution, and they don't know what they're going to do. Sony could have done. I guess they could have went the traditional route, like some of their fans were suggesting. Like, don't even go with gaming with on the go. Just do what you do best. Stick with that. That's going to sell. That was suggested by a lot of the Sony the fanboys and stuff like that. In part because they did not have a solution and they knew that they couldn't compete. But I'm glad Sony didn't take that route. Basically, what Sony did was, and I would have never thought Sony would have done this in a million years with Microsoft. They said, yes, we don't have the infrastructure, but we don't want to deprive our fans. Our fans are going to get everything that Xbox gets, everything that Stadia gets, everything that Nintendo gets, and we're going to be a part of it. Not to mention that, we might have more multiplayer games, so we're not going to only be making single player games only. We're going to have some games as a service, which people I know might not want to hear that, but I'm sure that they're going to be looking into that model. Quite frankly, because it's a cash cow, and it doesn't cost as much money to make. It's not as in depth, and they have the biggest gaming community on the planet, and they cater to them, and I'm happy Sony did that, and I have to say they've earned my respect in that regard. We talk about console wars and stuff like that. How could you have a console war when two companies are coming together like that and being friendly and sitting and breaking bread together and saying, let's make gaming better? What's it going to result in? You're going to have more multiplayer games. You're going to have more games on dedicated servers. You're going to have more games with cloud compute. Cloud compute was basically seen only exclusively on Microsoft and Windows. You're going to see those type of games. You're going to see possibly Titanfall 3 use like stuff like the AI, which was very cool, but it was exclusive again to the two platforms. This is going to open up crossplay too, and I feel like that they have an untapped potential with that, with crossplay. That's really big, and overall, this is excellent for the industry. It's excellent for the communities. Big deal.
But you know what? It brings up a couple questions for me because obviously I don't see all the Sony and Xbox fanboys sitting around the campfire seeing Kumbaya, but this is a big step in my opinion to ending this fanboy console war. Don't you guys think? I mean, what what other repercussions could come from this aside from better gaming experiences and the technology?
A lot of the console war stuff was petty, and right now we're on our way to, like, Phil was saying, play your games whenever, wherever you want to play them. And now, we can kind of see now it means PlayStation and probably Nintendo. They haven't announced anything officially yet. I don't think I didn't hear anything unless you guys heard something, but I guess it's time. And hey, I mean, you never know. We may be playing God of War on your Xbox, through a PlayStation
Yeah,
app. We may
yeah,
be
right.
maybe through a PlayStation app. I don't
Who
know how it's going to
knows? Who
work.
knows? It's
Who
crazy.
knows? I mean, we were saying, yeah, right, when who knew that this collaboration was going to even happen with Microsoft and Sony? The way of thinking, the way we were thinking is going to have to change. I think it's business. If you want to compete, you got to break down some barriers. These walls have to come down. And I mean, you got people that want to have both consoles, and you know what? They can't afford both consoles. But this app that I can download on my Xbox to play PlayStation games, this app that I can download on my PlayStation to play whatever, PC. I mean, it's just like, and then you just play your damn games. And with crossplay, that's going to propel things forward. It's going to support we were just talking about how studios suffer and the layoffs. I mean, you have. I mean, why not sell 6 million instead of 3 million copies of a game when all you gotta do is just allow it to be played on all the consoles? I mean, it's just it's there already. You do it with your DVDs, your Blu-rays, or whatever the hell you use. You just play it. I think that's going to be the way of the future. That's going to be the best way to compete with Google, with Stadia and what they're doing. And
I honestly don't see them as a factor, though. Everyone keeps looking over their shoulder about Stadia, and I mean, you heard
They'll be a
the
factor.
conversation we had. Well, not everybody has the bandwidth for to run that system or play those games. So if they're a factor,
True.
they're a very very minute
what were the
factor.
requirements again? Was it what was it?
It's
15
like
Think-
no,
megabits?
it was like 50.
No, it was 15.
No, that was at the most optimum, like
The
ideal.
the higher you go, the higher the resolution goes. So, like, say 15
Yeah,
is like.
and the average is like 3 in the country. So tell me, how's that going to work?
Well, I mean,
things are changing in the fact that there's
5G
coming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are coming that could fix that. Plus, they have this is a thing that makes Stadia interesting to me. They have the ability to have a game and they always say that's not restricted to the physical console. So theoretically, they could have a game with massive potential that you could only run like on a PC that you show at E3, like Watch Dogs when they showed that demo. That was done on a PC, but they could actually bring that experience, or they potentially could bring that experience, and you can get that on your own home PC because they are not tied down to developing for a certain piece of hardware like the
architecture.
The thing is, don't underestimate Google. Like, they have a lot of resources. But yeah, go on, Tim.
100%. Just like what you said, they have so much money. They have probably more money than I don't know. They have more money than Microsoft.
Yeah, but we're also talking about Google, who gives up on every program they start.
Well, one thing. Listen. We're all on this right now, okay? When this potentially could make money, they have that YouTube It's the way that we're using YouTube right now.
I'm on my Android phone right now.
Imagine,
That's a potential. Go ahead, I'm
imagine
sorry.
them being, and this is what YouTube can bring, and what Google can bringing this whole thing that we're doing right now. But we can play a game, we can stream that game to anybody, and we can make that money also off of it. So they're going to be offering ways for creators to not only play their games, but to also show their games in a different way. And Google and the way they do the way they have the setup with the Google Hangouts, uh, it's the best going. Discord's pretty good at it, but in my opinion, it's the best going, and they're tying all that together, and that's like to me a big deal. Like if you're a game creator, and you send out a link, and then when people hit on that link, they're brought into a game with a party chat of all four players that you set up, and it's like a podcast environment, but you're actually watching a game, and they're going to tutorials or they're talking about the game, and it's like a live event that you're watching, and that creator can make money on it, just like we make money, or not us, but just way YouTube makes money. YouTubers make money when they run their podcasts. That's a big deal. That's a big deal to me. So you can't underestimate them. And like Invader says, they have the capital to flip. Like they could brute force stuff. That's the thing. Microsoft always could brute force things, but they never would because they never allotted that type of budget. You don't know what you're dealing with Google here. If they want it really bad, they'll brute force stuff, and that means get their own studios, do whatever it takes, get Epic on hand. Who knows? But they are going to be definitely a potential factor next gen, in my opinion.
What's surprising too about like this whole partnership with Sony is that like all the rumors, all the talk was about Microsoft and Nintendo, and then out of nowhere, Microsoft and Sony at the same time just like announced this friendship, this partnership. It just completely blew everybody away. Everybody is like, really? Wow! Like, who would have thought these two would have came together like this? And Sony's really on board with Azure. I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but like there was all kinds of like shocked faces going on Twitter. The reactions were hilarious.
Listen, from what what Stadia showed and the potential, like I said, we're all using, our Android phones. They're all potential, like that's your user base almost. I mean, just you can stream this stuff to your phone. And if Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft want to compete with the potential that what Stadia can be, this is what they're going to have to do. And this is kind of like how I saw it, from before. And you got their game studios that looks appealing now, what Microsoft is doing now. But don't be surprised if they'll just look past Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft and go towards the larger install base, which is potentially the user base, which is Google, which is Stadia. I mean, watch out because they got money. They got they got a lot of things going for them. Not to say that Microsoft. Go ahead.
No. You go on.
Not to say that Microsoft doesn't. I mean, Nintendo, Sony, and PlayStation. They're all Xbox. They're all established. We are. I mean, companies. But like I said again, it's just if you want to compete, man. I mean, it's best that I think that they join forces and enable crossplay and just play these damn 100%. Games, man. Make this money. So,
well, I believe in competition. Competition is a good thing. Streaming, it's still when you talk about like the whole console streaming thing for games, it's still in its early infancy. I mean, I'm not interested in it. I know some people are. I'm just more of a dedicated disc guy. I don't plan on really using it, but hey, you know what? Like in the next couple of years, it should be interesting. And really, the Stadia, it's going to be interesting to see how this dedicated streaming console will work. And obviously, with Microsoft and Sony announcing this partnership, I mean, it's kind of like strengthening them to work together because of this streaming console coming along. It's really interesting to see the industry market reaction to something like full-on game streaming. And you know, if this
for our eyes, and you know, they're going to be at E3, so we're going to. I mean, everyone's going to be paying attention. You know, if
they're gonna have a show, so is Netflix for whatever.
yeah, even
yeah.
You know, I mean, but I think strategically, Microsoft got behind this when they got behind this, and they got Sony and it looks like Nintendo to sign on. They're kind of boxing out Stadia at this point, because one thing that the big three have is content. They all have exclusive content. Stadia can be, you know, great and everything, but if it doesn't have that content and is, let's say, is even kind of pushed out when you play COD and COD's playing on Azure, you know, and all these platforms are on Azure, and Stadia is kind of left out there. I think that move that Microsoft pulled here, and even Sony getting on board, was kind of a reaction definitely to Google. I think that the way they look at it is that they want to be the three, to stay the three. They don't want somebody. Obviously, you don't want another person picking at the overall pie. So what they're doing, it looks like they're all basically getting.
They're trying to freeze them out.
Freeze them out 100%, and I think that they will, in a way, really make it tough on Stadia. I think this news that came down with Microsoft and Sony, it probably Stadia was shaking their head when this happened.
Oh yeah,
because they're all going to be set. Stadia is not going to really have much to offer.
Is it Stadia or Stadia?
I don't know, the worst name ever. They got to change that name too. But you know, overall, they're going to have a hard time, because things that they thought they might have been able to offer exclusive, or, you know, like Sony would have been out. Now Sony's going to have it. Now Nintendo's going to have it. But they don't have the content that Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft has. They don't have that, or the library. You know what I mean? You got the library of games. Sure, we have multi-plats, but you have libraries of exclusive games from now and previously back gens that they have to contend with. It's going to be tough.
Let's see what we got here. Brian Wood, thanks for participating in the chat. Truth X7, Peter Young, L Boogie I saw earlier on. Thank you guys for tuning into the show and participating in the chat. It's always great to see you guys. You're great fans. Happy to always have you along here. But yeah, guys, you know, it's an interesting topic, this whole partnership. We'll see where it takes us, takes their relationship. And hey, we'll probably hear some more stuff at E3. It's only a couple of weeks away. But we're going to move on to our next topic. And you know what? I tell you guys, Twitter, it is an interesting place. And a few days ago, a creative director on The Division 2 tweeted out, "Working on the next Splinter Cell. Can't wait for E3." And he even uploaded to his Twitter image a pair of, the Splinter Cell iconic night vision goggles, which was interesting. Now, this got a lot of fans excited. But since after a Ubisoft representative said that he was actually just joking, and a lot of fans were pretty disappointed and not happy about that. So, panel, what are your thoughts here? Like, do you think that it was just a bad joke?
Hold on. Did you guys also see where Stone Chin DM'd him saying, "Turn off your phone," in all caps?
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I think that he was joking. That he was joking. That's going to be my angle. We're going to see.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course.
My question. I was going to say, do you also think this is just Ubisoft covering up as well? But go for it.
But they were talking about it for a while when they had, what's his name, Michael Ironside come in to do voiceover work, and they were saying, "Oh, well, he's working on the Ghost Recon DLC." So he's been working on it for a while. Everybody, I mean, it's one of them unwritten, you know, I mean, those secrets. They're not really secrets. We know what's coming.
Yeah, but it's just weird, like how they would say that, and then there was like, "Oh no, this is you know, we don't actually have anything you know, getting worked on here." It's just kind of random. But however, you know, it's like 2 weeks before E3. You know, if you want to drum up some interest before your show, you know.
Yeah, but Splinter Cell is a game you don't have to drum up interest. As soon as you hear that little boing, with the night vision goggles, everyone's gonna shit themselves. So that's one game you don't need any extra hints or hype or anything like that. People are
Can I
gonna
hear
go
that?
nuts for it.
Can I hear that sound again, South?
Nope, nope, nope.
I
Well-
find it interesting because there's been so many hints. I mean, apparently in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the latest game, there was a pair of like one of those night vision goggles like hidden away there as a teaser, an Easter egg. And even you gotta look at, remember the Walmart Canada leaks last year before E3? They all came through except for Splinter Cell that was leaked. So where is it? Why haven't we seen it? And I don't know. I just find the timing very interesting. Tim, go ahead.
Well, one of the things of that leak that we talked earlier was the third party, and that I heard is very true. I heard that Microsoft's kind of in their they're in their zone where they can kind of pick and choose who they want for the state. Obviously, because Sony is not there, so they have an ability to have their pick and choose of these third party games, and one of them could be Splinter Cell. Now, listen, we've all talked about this. I remember in 2017, Rand was saying, "Oh, this is definitely going to happen," and he heard this, and other people heard it too. Went, nothing happened. 2018, again, people brought it up. Went, nothing happened. With that guy to do that, kind of is is curious to me. That for me, 50% tells me that he is just joking, because why would he do that so close to E3? Or he just was like, screw it, let me just drum up some hype for this, which it did. I mean, everyone wants it, like Sal said. And if it's going to be there, it's going to be on Xbox stage. But I'm gonna be the guy that says, you burn me once, you burn me twice, or shame on me once, whatever. Now shame on you.
Oh, you're doing the George W.
Yeah, I screwed it up too, just like he would. But no, I don't think it's going to be there. But I do think that Microsoft's going to have a crazy amount of really big third party on their floor too, in addition to all the other stuff. Which why I say it's going to be a 2-hour show.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm so mixed about this because, we were, like Tim was saying, we were all expecting for Splinter Cell to be out by now. It seemed like a logical thing. I've read different things about it being in like a development hell, like it's been tossed around to different studios internally. I know Ubisoft Toronto was supposed to be working on it originally, and then it got handed off apparently. So who knows? I would love to see a Splinter Cell and a Sam Fisher coming back. Michael Ironside voicing again. We haven't had a Splinter Cell game since Conviction. That was an Xbox exclusive in 2010, I believe. I enjoyed that game. And this is a game that's been, heavily associated with Xbox. So I could see it coming to Xbox's conference. It's just, like you were saying, Tim, burn me once, burn me twice. I don't know what to believe anymore. This seems like the phantom game that it does exist, but doesn't want to show up. Guys, if a new Splinter Cell did get announced, would any of you guys be interested in picking it up?
Day one. It's been a while since I played one. My last one that I played was Pandora Tomorrow, I think it was called. And I can't remember if I finished it or not, but I'd pick it up. It's time.
Yeah, I didn't buy the last one because it was such a departure from the original series, but all the other games I played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Tim, do you like Splinter Cell at all? Would you play it?
Yeah, I'm not a big stealth guy, but Splinter Cell is the one stealth game that I do kind of like. So I would get it obviously day one, but it is not as high on my list as other games are, or potential games overall. But yeah, I would definitely get it day one. I get everything day one, but yeah, I just for the visuals alone, I would love to see what these next generation consoles do.
I kind of remember it always being compared to Metal Gear. You guys even remember that? Like people always often compare it to like a Metal Gear because of the stealth elements without the box.
Well, yeah, that was their
Mhm.
competition, and then Metal Gear a couple times kind of like, it's been a long time now, but they parried Sam Fisher with the night vision goggles because you know how when you get spotted in Metal Gear, it has that sound, and then
Yeah.
obviously Splinter Cell has their sound.
Wait, how does the sound go?
I'm not doing it, you bastards.
Come on.
What would you
No,
rather
no,
see?
no,
What
no.
would you guys rather see? Would you rather see a new Metal Gear or announcement or a new Splinter Cell announcement?
Splinter Cell because
Splinter Cell.
Kojima's not at a Metal Gear at Konami anymore, so
Mega
Yeah.
Salt.
Oh, yeah.
Mega Salt.
Mecasalt, definitely. Well, I mean, we'll see, guys. I mean, it does seem like a game that could possibly show up. There's signs of it. There's been hints and teases from Ubisoft, but we'll see. I find the timing very interesting. But moving on to a very interesting article that popped up yesterday from our
There, I did
There
it.
you
nice.
go.
Very nice. I like that. I love hearing that thing. But what was it? Yeah. So an article popped up, and allegedly there's a bit of squabbling going on between Call of Duty Studios, Sledgehammer Games, and Raven. They were supposed to be the main studios working on Call of Duty 2020, so not this year but the year after, and apparently they were very behind schedule. They were fighting, lots of infighting between them, and because of this, Activision had to step in and actually get Treyarch to take over on the project, and supposedly this is going to be Black Ops 5 from what reports are saying. Now, guys, what are your thoughts on this, on the squabbling? Because it's a pretty big deal when a couple of teams are like fighting amongst each other, and it really tears games apart. We've seen games get torn apart before because teams just aren't working together. Does COD need to take a break? Like what's going on here?
As
What are
long as
your
as long as the money's coming in, they're not going to take a break. I mean, everyone, but I mean, I said I'm not going to buy it, and I buy it, and hardly even play it, depending on what friend I have on that's playing it. But I'm probably more interested in the type of arguments they're having behind the scenes. Like, are they like fighting over like sales number? Are they like bragging? Or
No, it's about the game and what they want to do with the game and how they want to make it. That's what.
well, you got
reports
two
are
different
saying.
studios, right?
Right.
So
It's basically a power struggle from what I see.
One prefers to do it one way or the other, and then I'm wondering if they're throwing like sales in the mix. Like,
So Activision, being the parent that they are, has to put the kids to bed and call the chaperone out and the babysitter to oversee it.
Now, keep in mind, there's been like people leaving Sledgehammer recently in recent years. What's his face? Glenn Schofield, who he was
Michael
originally.
Condrey.
Yeah, Michael Condrey as well. Key figures, studio heads, they left because they didn't like, they were very, very vocal on Twitter, especially Chandri there recently about, they didn't like what Activision was doing, especially with like microtransactions and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, apparently, there was just infighting, according to Jason Schreier's articles there, and apparently he'll be writing up another article about stuff going on that happened in Black Ops 4. But it's very discerning here, guys. Obviously, this doesn't involve Infinity Ward here. Supposedly, they're working on Modern Warfare 4, which should be revealed quite soon. But yeah, it's I mean, me personally, like I think COD needs to take a break, and I don't know. It just seems like these studios are working overtime, like that, and just trying to introduce just more and more microtransactions into the games. Like I'm just kind of like, as much as I used to love Call of Duty, it just seems like I'm getting nickeled and dimed for everything, But
yeah, they want their white whales. They want to cash in, and they want to make you feel you got to pay to win, and it's I don't know. I'm not saying that loot boxes doesn't have a place in gaming, but it shouldn't be so forced down your throat at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I personally think the microtransaction craze is kind of dying down, and it's you see like even people advertising that they're not going to do it. With
All that
Activision,
legislation.
yeah. There's
Mm-hmm.
people that there's all that type of stuff. Um, like Invader says that maybe it should take a year off, but that's not going to happen
Mm.
because you have Activision involved, and Activision is the big guy in the room that's saying let's meet these deadlines and do whichever way possible. I think that they will get the game out. I think it'll be fine. This is type of stuff that that they probably have ran into previously. Um, I don't think they're going to be delayed out of the holiday. I think that they specifically set a mandate that they have to deliver during the holiday because, quite frankly, all the sales are there. The one interesting thing, I could see where the marketing goes. I wonder if Microsoft kind of ease their skills and or ease their stances on some of the things, and and actually did a deal with COD. I think that would be a good thing for them. But yeah, it's still a beast. It's the industry. It's kind of like the dark end of the industry right now,
Mm-hmm.
where
You want to make some
with
noise? You want to make some noise? What if they came out on stage, right, and announced, and you see they play the trailer, and you see somebody with a Nintendo Switch, you see somebody with a PlayStation controller, an Xbox controller, and announce crossplay.
nice. That'd be
And
Yeah.
cool.
for them, it would be good, I guess. And then, yeah, I think that'd be cool if they did
Well, I
that.
think they need to do something I think they need to do something at this point to make the series a little bit different,
Hmm.
and that could be something like that. But overall, I just really think these big companies like EA and Activision have to really chill out with the microtransactions because they could ruin your game, especially if the wrong story comes out or you come out with some type of microtransactions that are completely egregious and they're completely over the top and you piss fans off. That's one way to screw something up. If you keep the COD train running and you don't screw up, I'm pretty sure that the game will be the top three top selling games of 2020 2019. The same thing goes for. But I do think the series is in need of a year off. A new engine definitely implemented.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a copy and paste type deal. They come up with something new and then they rehash it back. They've kind of done everything at this point. So
Well, yeah,
uh,
because a lot of people say, well, their shot in the arm was, having it, what's it called, the open world, what's
boots
it
on
called?
the ground. Remember,
Right,
boots on.
right. Well, not so much the boot on the ground, but more like the PUBG, Apex type style.
Oh, Battle
Right.
Royale.
The battle royale, yeah, that
They reuse that. They use that though.
No, I know.
I
That's what I'm
agree.
saying. The people could already argue that they've already used the battle royale route, and what can they do now to keep it fresh or differentiate from anything else that's out there? I If you look at the leaks and
Differentiate
all the
against itself.
rumors, well, yeah. Well, the thing is, they should have never took out the single player campaign. That's the reason why I didn't buy the game.
Yeah,
I
100%.
I always like the campaign. Uh, the campaign in Call of Duty games. So when they took it out, I was like, well, it looks like I'm not playing it or I'm not buying it. So whatever, cool. And they lost out on my sale, which obviously I'm just one person, so it really doesn't matter. But I've heard a couple grassroots, issues that a lot of people wanted campaigns. So and apparently they were actually working on one until it got cut. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens, guys. I mean, there's a lot going on here. Treyarch is taking the reins again. They're already working overtime on trying to reposition Black Ops 4. Now they got Black Ops 5 from the sounds of things. And if they're getting to work on that, I can just imagine how the support for Black Ops 4 is going to die down quicker, right? If they're being forced to work on this game. So,
no, because they announced that all these other studios are being support studios, so they're gonna get all the grunt work now.
well, it's some aspects anyways, but if I mean, they were never supposed to work on this game. they were supposed to have an extra year on top of that. So, I mean, I would imagine that some of their work would get cut down on Black Ops 4, at least some kind of support anyways. But we'll see, guys. Just an interesting article. See what happens in the coming days if more articles pop up about this situation. But moving on, and guys, it looks like Netflix is planning to announce some gaming-related content in E3 in a few weeks. And over Twitter, they announced a panel dubbed "Bringing Your Favorite Shows to Life: Developing Netflix Originals into Video Games," teasing that there's content to come. Now, we already know of a small Stranger Things game coming out. It's more of like a small indie title in nature. But panel, it's curious seeing Netflix's ambitions into the gaming industry. Do you think they'll be more aggressive now, like more games based on their own shows? Because, it'd be interesting seeing like a more AAA game from them. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna go first because I really don't think it's the gaming that we all have in mind. I think they're talking more of that show Bandersnatch, that type of gaming, because that was basically what was that game that came out a couple years ago, Late Shift? I mean, it basically the same thing.
Full motion video.
Right. So I think when they're talking about making video games, that's what they're referring to, not actual console games or anything like that, because Netflix isn't on console, so how are they really going to sell their product? I think it has to do with their games like the Bandersnatch, quote unquote viewing game. I don't even know what that's classified.
It's like live action. It's called like live action.
It's actually
it's like interactive.
It's interactive, yeah. So
interactive, yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to get themselves.
I don't know. Call me a cornball. I like those sort of games. I play every day.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad at all. What I'm saying is I don't see them having the traditional gaming, say like.
How would they do it? What are you going to play on your hand? Like,
well, no, because no, you use your, like if you're playing Netflix on your Xbox, you use your controller or your remote. You just control the outcomes of different, stories, and that's what they consider the game.
Like
well, yeah, because there's already a show, like I said, look it up, Bandersnatch, and people went nuts over it because you can do all the different endings. Right.
I think it's cool, man. They can be like, Telltale's not there anymore, so they can, take the place of Telltale and maybe, with instead of how they did it with the. I guess the still shot animation. I guess they can just do live action with Stranger Things, maybe, or just I don't know.
Be really cool.
I think, it'll be cool. They got a lot of stuff that they can show, though.
Well, I think that's an interesting take. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think it's a very interesting take by South. I did not think about that. I was asked about that previously on another show, and I was just like, I have no idea. But that makes a little bit of sense. Something like the show Late Shift and these interactivity shows. I don't think they're going to be entering the console fray. They're not entering gaming.
Right.
I thought maybe it could be an esports exclusive type thing where they do a series on gamers or they do, a new series. But yeah, that one's very interesting. But I do have to say, South, kudos to you. That's a very, very smart idea. That could very well be true.
Well, no, like I said, I just can't see them being in traditional gaming.
Same. That's why I think it's a very good guess, because I proposed the question, I had no answer, and I still didn't have an answer to today. And that what you said makes a lot of sense. That type of thing. Even if it is something where you have to press left or right, you could do that with a remote.
Right.
You don't need much with those type of games, those interactivity games.
Yeah. As soon as they announced that they were going to do games, immediately I thought, oh, Bandersnatch, because I don't know if you guys had ever played or watched that. But anytime there was time to make a decision, your controller on your Xbox controller would start to vibrate. Okay, it's time to make a decision. You want to choose this or that, or do nothing. Then it'll choose for you. So it's just all choice, decisions.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I could see them announcing like some more smaller title games, like they are doing with the soon to be released Stranger Things game, or like you said, some of these interactive movies that or interactive game movies, whatever you want to call them, like they go with their whole Netflix appeal, going into their shows, the whole cross media thing, and it makes sense. I could see them doing small promotions. It's just interesting them being at E3, interacting with the E3 account, and that they're going to have some kind of a presence there. It just shows you the cross media that is entering the industry now, and there's all kinds of opportunities now for different kinds of stuff coming out.
That and it's so cheap to go to E3 now because everyone else is falling out of it. They're like, "Oh, okay, we get some cheap PR over here."
Sony's not there. Nintendo doesn't exactly do traditional conferences anymore. EA doesn't. They have their own thing. Activision isn't going to be there, but Netflix is going to be there. Get that right, guys? So
that's what I said. So many people are, turn their back on it. Why not Netflix? Tell.
Yeah, just interesting in any case. But moving along here, and an interesting bit of news popped up the other day, guys. Minecraft, the literal blockbuster of a game, had its 10th anniversary the other day, and it was revealed that, well, it appears that it's like the best-selling game of all time now, reaching over, well, close to 180 million copies sold, or, well, 176 to be exact, and it seems to have surpassed the legendary Tetris in sales. Now, panel, what are your thoughts on this news? Like, are you really surprised by this, that Minecraft had this kind of traction? And do you think Microsoft will do more with Minecraft going forward?
I hope so. Did they ever release the 4K patch for Minecraft yet? Does anyone know? Yes.
I'm not sure.
No, if somebody in the chat would like to let us know, that'd be great. I'll admit I don't play Minecraft, but it's
I don't
interesting.
follow it very, very closely. So my godson used to always play. So that's about the extent of what I used to know. Now
no, they never released it. And I saw it, and let me tell you, it was awesome. So I have no idea what happened with that, but they never released the 4K patch.
Good for them that their sales are great, off the charts, basically. And I mean, what do you think the reason is for that? Obviously you can play Minecraft on everything.
You can play on anything, and it's ease of access. Like with that, it's a very inviting game. I'll admit, because of the nature of the game itself, where you're creating these worlds, I don't usually play those games, but I can definitely admire them for what they are. It's a very creative game. Remember, Microsoft bought that property for what, $2 billion, something like that.
I was just gonna bring that up, man. What a deal they got on that.
Yeah,
and thanks to Phil. Phil orchestrated that one.
Yeah, that's I remember that. I couldn't believe it. It was 2000, like September of 2014.
Remember people said it was bad?
Yeah.
A lot of backlash.
Everyone was like, they got ripped off. Yeah, okay.
And then a year later, they're like, wow, what a bargain.
Yeah, now it's at the point where if they try to sell Minecraft right now, as big as it is, they probably could double their money. They probably could
double. They
triple.
Like, yeah, easy.
Triple possibly. I mean, in China alone, there's 200 million users already that have played the game and signed up. So it is mind-boggling how big it is. And I know we're going to get into the Earth next. That's going to be pretty crazy too.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because with the celebration of the anniversary, the 10-year anniversary, as you alluded to, Tim, a new Minecraft experience was announced called Minecraft Earth, and it's more of a Pokemon Go-like experience which allows you to build things in an augmented reality environment. I don't know if any of you guys saw the Xbox video with that, the trailer for it, because what do you think of this? Because I could see kids going crazy over this thing, like the whole Pokemon Go craze.
Depending on how it's implemented, it has a tremendous potential. If it's 1/10 of what Pokemon did, it's an absolute runaway success. So, South, what were you going to say?
Oh no, I was gonna say, I think that's time has come and gone. You know, the whole Pokemon Go was such a big deal a couple years ago, and not very many people even play that anymore. So I don't. I think it's a little bit too late to cash in on that rush.
I don't know. I mean,
It still have potential. I mean, just now we're talking about sales, right? I mean, you can tap into a market and an interest and increase everything. A shit ton. I mean, you
Yeah,
just
well,
don't know.
I'm just being pessimistic
Does
because I
anybody
just
know
don't
how it
see
works,
how
though?
viable it could be now. Now, if you'd have told me a year, 2 years ago that they were jumping into that arena, then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's perfect time right now. Just like Apex and PUBG and all that. When all these other games started jumping on the bandwagon, well, yeah, you strike with the iron's hot. Now, I don't really think it's viable. I don't think it's gonna work. I don't
Well,
think
does
it's
anybody know
really
how
good.
it's going to work? Does anybody know how it's going to work?
well,
I have no idea how it would work. Does Invader? Did you get any kind of idea what kind of glass? Do we need glasses? Do we
I
need
don't think
HoloLens?
so. I think he just goes
Just
through
use
the
your phone.
phone, like very similar to Pokemon Go from the sounds of it. It's an
Oh, okay.
augmented reality experience. But I have no idea if they would bring it to Brian Woodhead suggested here, like holographic kind of stuff. I could see it being implemented with like HoloLens.
No, HoloLens will never be for consumers. That'll always be for like
Too
doctors.
expensive.
Well,
Yeah,
it is
it'll
expensive.
never be
That'd be
practical.
cool. That'd be cool, Rough. I'm just brainstorming here. That'd be really cool. But no, I think it's just meant like as like basically a Pokemon Go like experience. But I could see so much creativity with that, and I'd also wonder if you'd also be able to like bring a friend along as well and have like co-op opportunities with that as well. That could, I don't know,
Yeah.
like
Or share yourself. It has potential, but we have to get the particulars. But if it is like I said, 1/10 of what Pokemon did, then it's going to be big because Pokemon was so big that it jumped the stock. What did it jump the stock? 20 points, and it was crazy.
it was quite a
How
bit.
much is?
It
Yeah.
was quite. I remember everybody was talking about that when it came out. Like nobody that was interested in video games had downloaded that app. People were like downloading that app through like illegal means just to get it. And yeah, everybody and their grandmother was playing it. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it's very interesting. I'll be honest, I never once thought Minecraft was gonna be this successful. I didn't think much of it when it first came out. Xbox always really liked it. I was shocked when they bought it, and yeah, it's really successful. I'm shocked that it's even now like the best-selling game of all time, and I hope that it's continues doing well. We're still waiting on Minecraft Dungeons as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have other Minecraft-related things in the works. But moving on, guys, to things non-Minecraft, it appears as if Nintendo Switch has dethroned the PlayStation 4 in Japan. And a report came out citing that sales of the Switch are booming, reaching now 8.13 million in consoles sold, and the PS4 is at something like 8.07 million. So, it's a very impressive achievement when you consider that the Switch has only been out for like 2 years and the PlayStation 4 has been out for 5 or 6. Now, panel, what do you think makes the Switch so popular in Japan? Why is it doing so well, do you think? Why is it so popular?
It's
Well,
portable.
go ahead, Megan.
It's portable. Everyone, in Japan, they like their mobile gaming. From what I've been reading. So the content they have, that's one thing I can think of. Basically, it's just I have a Switch. I don't play it as often, but it is a fun console to.
Well, their
to
first
own.
party is impressive. They keep pumping out material. Like they have Luigi's Mansion 3
Mhm.
still coming out this year. A few mech games like Daemon X Machina I'm keeping an eye on still. They have all kinds of content coming out, and there's always, I don't know if you guys notice, for any of you guys have a Switch, I keep going into their store, and they have all kinds of indie content on there. They have indies just jumping onto that system like mad, stuff that I have not seen on the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Like, it is a big indie like console. But yeah, Nintendo's first parties pumping out stuff, and I've been shocked actually at the way that third parties been supporting them. Like Bethesda's been going pretty well on them, and even though the Mortal Kombat 11 didn't look that great on it, like I'm still shocked that they were even able to get it onto that system.
True. Yeah, I'm agreeing with Megatron. Japan used to be up there right with the number one market, North America, in console buying, but they kind of moved away. They like the more mobile, smaller screens, mobility. They went that route. So I think that's the biggest factor. That it's you can play on the go, you can play anywhere, and
And
yeah, I
the
think
fact that Minecraft is on the Switch too.
right, and they also have a lot of content like you alluded to, but and content that's geared for that market too. Like there's a lot of games that are on that aren't on Xbox. But yeah, for the mobility and the the be able to take your games anywhere and play them with your friends and this and stuff in a group. I think that big selling point, plus Nintendo, it all enables them for their win. They're gonna just dominate the market, in my opinion, in Japan, moving forward too.
Absolutely, and you guys are totally right when it comes to the portability factor. Japanese gamers, they're really into their handheld devices, and the Switch just makes sense for that. It is on a roll. I mean, it's not the most powerful console out there, but man, it really does its job well. Oh, I know me and Megatron have a Switch. Tim, do you have a Switch?
I do, but I have to be honest, I don't play it that much. I do have it. I have
Yeah.
it docked. I'm like you. I don't want to mess it up, so I just keep it docked, and that
Mhm.
kind of hurts my playability because I'm kind of a little fickle about taking it out. I don't want to get scratches. I don't have a thing, but I dock it. I have played it, but I don't play it that much, to be honest.
Yeah, same. I'll break it out every now and then. I just wait for the exclusives to come out. Definitely looking forward to Luigi's Mansion. But yeah, it's good to see the Switch selling well. Obviously, Nintendo kind of hit a pothole when the Wii U came out. It didn't have a lot of success, as we all know, but the Switch is doing impressive. So kudos to them. Kudos to them. And I can't wait to see what they have going forward. Maybe we'll get some nice tidbits at E3. But moving on, guys, and this wasn't originally in our set of topics. I had put it in late because I thought it was interesting. It looks like THQ Nordic has teased two unannounced games that they'll be showing off at E3, and it was stated in a press release that they'll be showing off, these two unannounced games. One will be a galactically beloved franchise that will return, a long-awaited one. And the second title is a new vision of a beloved franchise. Now, panel, what could these games possibly be here? Because they're a classic franchise that they're kind of speaking of. And THQ Nordic, they've been buying up all kinds of franchises recently, but a lot of people are thinking that it'll be classics like Destroy All Humans and Time Splitters.
I think them talking about the Galactic, that kind of gives it away right there.
Destroy
When
all
you're talking
humans, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I just hope they have the same voice actors, because that dude grates on my nerves. Oh man, the one-liners that he dropped in those games are hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll play it just for that.
So I'm assuming you guys have played Destroy All Humans or Time Splitters?
Yes, I have.
I have it. Time Splitters years ago. Destroy All Humans. I've always wanted to. I have it. Another game in my backlog that's in there. There's 700 others. But yeah, it's just that's a that is a what type of game is it? It's like how Halo Wars is, right? It's
You mean a real-time strategy?
It's RTS, right?
No,
it's not.
No, not Destroy All Humans. No.
No,
okay.
it's more like a
South Park type deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different game then. I'm sorry. So okay, I'm way off.
What are you?
I was thinking more as like a Voodoo Vince type.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's really ridiculous. And then I mean, like people have been waiting for another Time Splitters game. These franchises, a lot of people weren't expecting to come back. Obviously, when you hint at something like a galactically beloved franchise, that pretty much confirms Destroy All Humans. I remember a lot of people being mixed on the sequel to that was early on in the PS3 and 360 days. But people have been wanting it to come back, and Time Splitters has this huge cult following. People really yearn for that game, and it looks like it's finally going to be coming back. It sounds like we'll have some interesting announcements going into E3, guys. I know all three of you guys are going to be there.
With bells on.
Can't wait.
Yeah, like we said, we got to get you there next year, Invader, somehow, some way.
You know what? I am really looking forward to it. I really want to come down. I got to work on a few things, guys, but I definitely want to join you guys.
It'll be an international kidnapping scheme.
Hey, I'm not that far away from the border. I'll just jump across to Buffalo, and we'll see what we can do.
There you go. Meet you on the other side. We'll throw you in the back of the truck.
So no, wait. You're saying you're trying to come now potentially, or this year?
No, this will be next year.
Okay, all right.
We might have to write some. We might have to write some emails.
Ooh, did you hear that, guys?
Invader that's Timmy Twitter fingers right there.
I'm gonna invade E3. All right, this is gonna be fun. All right, guys, we're getting into the latter half of the show, and we've covered all kinds of varying topics, all kinds of really interesting topics that have popped up during the week. But we're gonna close off with the games that we've been playing recently. Let's see, Megatron. What have you been playing over the past week or so? Anything exciting?
Division. South and a couple of the buddies of ours have been trying to boost my level up some. We played a few hours last night, and I'll probably be playing again after the show. So good times.
Megatron and his chips smacking. I was like, damn, bro. What are those rocks or chips?
Yeah, I was trying to feed and play at the same time. I have a habit of, I think to me, gaming and food go hand in hand, which is a bad habit of mine.
No,
that's all.
That's why you mute your mic.
I've been trying, man. I thought I was muted. But, hey.
Yeah, he said, "Ooh, I muted my."
Sounds exposing me right now.
At least it's not my breathing like that.
Yeah, right. It's not his breathing; it's your chewing.
I know. I've been versed in that already. I cut that down. Whenever I zone out or like I pay attention to something, I definitely sound like I'm gonna.
It's better than me snoring. I will fall asleep, and I don't care who's in the party. So we all know that.
We've been in parties with Phil, and you've been snoring. We were like, it was like, what's that?
Megatron's
out. That's just
Megatron's there.
The Megatron's like, I got work in 2 hours.
He's like, I gotta take a shower and go to work. I'm like, what? You just got home 20 minutes ago.
I'm like, can you call in sick? He's like, no.
Yeah.
That's good. Division's a good game. So South, you've just been playing the Division as well. I know you
Yeah,
said you have
Division.
Rage
Yeah,
a bit as
like I
well.
said, I've kind of popped in a couple other games, but I like I said, I started that Plague Tale, whatever the hell it's called, and I seen a bunch of rats, and then I was like, oh no, I'm not. This is gonna be a lot of time. Okay, all right, time to go sleep. So yeah, it's mostly Division, all Division. I'm finally raid ready, so I'm looking for. That's the only thing bad about it. You can't match make. You got to get actually 8 people together to do the raid.
Yeah,
So
why is that? Why is that?
I don't know. It really wasn't well thought out. I don't think.
That sucks. I
I
saw
get it.
that.
I get it. You don't want a bunch of airheads messing with your gameplay because if you're trying to do a certain goal, but at the same time, not everybody has 8 people on their friends list ready to rock and roll at the same time. So
Well, you're also it's assuming too that people aren't going to work together. I mean, okay, sometimes yeah, that's going to happen, but like if you're at least give the option to like have people join in, right? Because you're not
Autofill,
going to
yeah.
have that many people all the time to want to do that in your friends list.
Dreadpool
Yeah.
just said console gamers finally beat Division 2 raid.
yeah, but I heard it was just PlayStation, not PlayStation and PC, not Xbox. Nobody on Xbox has beat it yet.
Hmm. Interesting.
We're gonna do
Tim,
it tonight.
Tim Dog, what have you been playing the past week?
Well, I went into it earlier. I've been playing Rage too.
Oh yeah.
I have to say, the characters and the world is really cool. I like the layout. I like how you can just free roam and do what you want. I'm not a, I kind of get sick of games that direct you and they hold your hand the whole way. And most games are like that now. So games like this where you could just go out, like I actually free roam for 3-4 hours, and then I hit the first mission just by chance, not even by a directive, which I thought was really cool. So I have to say the visuals would be much better if the sharpness was at 4K. But these games, I'm sure, will be remastered or enhanced for the new consoles. But I would recommend this game. From what I've played, obviously I got to play more, but the character's really cool. The setup's really cool. The way you upgrade your character and the everything you can do, the added stuff that you could do. It's really good. I have to say, for a fun game, and a lot of people are like, that's the word everyone keeps using. But you know what? At the end of the day, fun really does matter the most.
Mhm.
It's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. Sound quality, I didn't mention that. The audio design is really fantastic. I have to say they did a great job there. The explosions and the driving around the world is really top notch. It's like Mad Max and and other games just meshed together. So I highly recommend. I recommend that game. I wouldn't say highly. I'd say it's definitely going to be like an 8 out of a 10. And then I have to say I got into this game and we're talking about backlogs. This Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a very good game that I would say if you haven't played yet, or if you played a little, play it a little bit more. Um, I don't know why I didn't get totally into it, but I'm into it now, and I'm looking to finish it. I have to say that game is fantastic, from graphics to the way you go around the world. That game, give it a try. Try to get it on sale. It's by far one of my favorite. I'm not a big Assassin's Creed fan, but from in the series, it is by far my favorite of the series. I'm gonna look to finish it. I have to say, it's a long game. So I played it for about 10 hours, but yeah, I'd recommend that too. And then I play NBA 2K like I usually did, but haven't been playing. I've been trying to work. To get this money up for E3. I'm trying to
Good
get it
times are coming.
to a
Mhm.
point. Yeah, to a point where we can spend the money because it's going to be a lot of money. So I've been working overtime and with my schedule and my travel, it's been hard to play games. But when I do, I get it in a big chunk, and I did that this week, which I was happy about.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've been bouncing back and forth between a few games, but I've been taking advantage of Game Pass a lot recently, and I downloaded The Surge because it recently popped up on Game Pass, got added, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's like Dark Souls meets like sci-fi kind of, if you want to like sum it up. And I mean, it's kicking my butt in a lot of ways, but I like the aesthetics of it. It seems kind of cool, so I've just been playing around with that. But otherwise, I haven't really gone into a lot of other games. Kind of took a break a bit. But yeah, you know what? As we were talking about before the show, I'm really looking forward to trying out Void Bastards when it comes out on Game Pass day one. I think it's next week or the week after, but I'm really stoked to try that out. It seems up my alley, like a strategic first-person shooter kind of a thing. So really looking forward to that, guys. And with that, I think that about wraps things up for tonight's show. And guys, a big shout out to everyone in the chat for participating and also to everyone listening in. Guys like Dreadpool, Shinbeam, Brian Wood. Who else do we got here? 108 Dragons TV, Peter Young, Brian. Doc had joined in. Thank you, Doc. Shizno Elite. All kinds of great guys. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We really appreciate
Boogie jumped in too.
Yeah, Boogie had jumped in earlier. I saw Siberia. He had tweeted out something. A whole slew of people. Thank you, guys. We really love and appreciate everyone that shows up for the show. And if you happen to enjoy the show, guys, then please leave a like and share this sucker out to all of your friends. Show the TXR love and consider subscribing for more gaming banter. Southbound, where can these fine people follow you at?
No, you guys can hit me up on Twitter, Southbound110, at Southbound110. Yeah, I like to talk to people. You know what I mean? Hit me up, we'll tell a joke, bullshit, whatever. And that's pretty much it. Good luck, guys.
All right. Tim Dog, and hey, you had some pretty well set points tonight. Where can all these gaming fans find you?
Well, I'm on Twitter. You can find me there at Beastfire Tim Dog. Pretty easy. Beastfire and then Tim Dog, and you'll see a big flaming on fire Xbox guy. Just click the follow button and hit me up. I respond to everyone that hits up. So that's where you can find me, and you can also find me here Sunday nights.
Don't forget RDX. Megatron, it's always a fun night with my Decepticon friend here. Where can the podcast faithful find you?
On Xbox One, my gamer tag is Megatron1, and on Twitter, Megatron_1975. Hit me up, follow, play some games, talk about whatever, whenever.
I thought you were going to say McDonald's.
Timmy's thinking about a Big Mac right now.
No McDonald's. Not tonight, anyway.
How's you do? You're always on the diet for E3. You doing good?
Old habits are hard to break. So
we were just talking about him eating chips last night in the party.
It's going. I have my ups and downs, more ups than downs, but
that's all right. Well, you'll be having a good time at E3 in any case.
There will be no diet restrictions in LA. I'm sorry. It'll be Chinese, whatever barbecue and this and that, and just wings and
light beer,
fries, and it's good times, man.
Megatron, Dom Perignon, and caviar.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. All right, guys, and of course, you know me, Invader Gaming. You can find me on YouTube, Invader Gaming, and always, you can hit me up on Twitter at Invader_1986. And again, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Just a heads up, we're not sure about next week's show. We might postpone it because it is the Memorial Day weekend, but we're still working out things how we're gonna do that. But follow the TXR podcast on Twitter to find out about what's going to be going on for that show, and we'll definitely let you know. But with that said, guys, have a good night. I hope you guys got caught up on the Game of Thrones finale. And yeah, just take it easy, guys. And we'll hopefully catch you next week. And if not, the week after. Take it easy.
Later.
Later on. Peace.